Good morning, my King family. This is going to be a quick video. Real quick, gold. Gold was up to 42.38. It went down to 41.90 on this bullshit 10 o'clock crap, but now it's back to 42.02. Why did it go down? So they could buy it cheaper, so they could run options. It's a madoff. Silver, on the other hand, I believe was 54. It was 54.40. And then it dropped about 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock from 54 to 52.80. And now it's back to 53.12. What the fuck is this? This is just more bullshit. Anyway, now the main reason of this is I had a student yesterday, and he doesn't understand the tax of gold and silver. So I want to have Andy Scheckman explain it to us. Now, you only pay tax if you get 1099. You don't pay tax just because you got nothing better to do. Just like when we go to the casino and we play poker, we play we play blackjack, we play craps. We win $1,000 here, maybe $2,000. We don't pay tax on it. It's just, that's why a lot of people go to the casinos. That's why a lot of people bet football and baseball. There's no tax on it. So you bet, you win 10 grand and you don't pay tax because it's not a taxable item. The only gambling winnings you got to pay tax on is if you hit a slot machine. And that's why if you hit a slot machine, you get 1099, you then look for losing sports tickets, horse racing and football, to offset it, saying, well, I lost here, so that brings the win total down. As far as the only way you have to pay tax is if you get a form, a 1099 form, an interest income form. So if you have $1,000 in the bank and you make $50 of interest, you pay tax on the $50. Why? It's beyond stupid. I don't know. But with gold, holding gold, you don't pay tax. And when you sell it, you only pay tax on a 1099. Now, the question came up, well, what if I sell $100,000 worth, which would be the stupidest thing to do? You would, if you did do that, and I'm going to show you Andy Scheckman, you do it in stages. You sell 10 ounces here, 10 ounces there, 10 ounces there. And there is no 1099. Oh, but when I put the money in the bank, why the hell would you put the money in the bank? Oh, I want to buy an asset. So go buy the asset, use cash. It's beyond stupid. So I don't know what to say there. Basically, you sell your gold if you need to, which I do not advise you to profit take. You need to sell an ounce or two, your girlfriend, your wife, your kids need something. You sell an ounce or two. Right now, you get 4,200 for your ounce. And it's not even on all the gold. It's only on, it's only, I believe, on the Eagles or something, not on every gold. So if you have Cougarons, you don't pay tax on it. So I don't know where people are getting this idea that if they sell their gold, there's this big tax on it. You only, like I said, pay tax if you get 1099. Right? That's how it works. They get the form, so you report it. If you sell stock, you get a 1099, right? So, and on Bitcoin, you get a 1099. That alerts the government that you made money here and there, and then you have to pay tax on it. If you don't get 1099, you're not paying tax. If the bank asks you, what did you do? You just say, I went to Vegas and I hit. I mean, it's none of their business, the banks. But if you're afraid, well, I put 100 grand into the bank. Well, you're an idiot. You should put like 20 grand and then 20 grand here and 20 until you finally put in 100 grand. And it's really, when I sold my stocks and I put it into it stopped into my bank before I could grab it and buy the gold. And they said, what are you doing with the money? And I said, I'm going to Vegas. That was all I said. And what are they going to check? So really, none of their business. You're not tax evading. You're not frauding. You only have to pay tax if you get the 1099. So if you put money into the bank and you're afraid the bank's going to ask you questions, well, I would not put in all in at the same time. See, there's ways around things, right? You can go all in poker, but that's going to get the other guys out. So you bet, make a little bet, and you keep them. You're drawing them in because you've got them beat. So as far as selling gold, first of all, I do not advise profit taking because you've got to be out of your mind to profit take. That means you're getting back into dollars. Okay, I'm profit taking because I want to buy an asset. Oh, okay. Well, go buy your asset. Use the cash or use the gold. Well, nobody takes gold. Bullshit. People take gold. You just have to find the right person, and you're a little early. Once the dollar collapses, which is going to be very soon, I'm going to show you an Egon one. You'll find it. So let's go to Andy Scheckman, and he's going to explain exactly where and when they 1099 you, and we'll play it a few times.
Have you guys heard of the auction app? I got all of this.
A few things that people ask over and over. You get it. Go over real quick.
Sure.
Report purchases, report selling back. How does that work?
There's no reporting on purchases at all, ever. The only time there would be reporting would be if you paid with cash in excess of $10,000, like green cash, like this kind of cash, in excess.
It's called U.S. dollars.
$10,000, or multiple money order or cashier's checks under $10,000 each. Like you could do a cashier's check for $1 million. No reporting. But if you did, 1,000, checks at $9,000 each, you're going to get reporting or in cash. But it's important to understand that that's retail law in this country. Well, if you went to that welding store and you paid with $11,000 and $100 bills, they're supposed to issue you a Form 8300. If you go and buy, you go buy your whole family a new wardrobe at Nordstrom's and pay with cash, you get a Form 8300. That would be the same thing here. So, it's not just specific to precious metal. So you pay with a check or a wire or an e-check, there is zero in the form of dealer reporting. When you sell back, there are some.
Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. So they never know when you have it. They don't know you have it in the first place. They don't know what you paid for it. They don't know what you have it. That's the first thing. So they don't even know you have it. So when you sell it, he's going to tell you there's limits that you don't get 1099 on. And that's the whole point of this. We are always 5 steps ahead. We think fifth dimensionally, and this is part of it. All right. This is when you go to the store and sell it, when they will issue a 1099 and when they won't. And if they don't issue a 1099, there's no tax on it.
Some things that trigger reporting. Let's go over them real quick. In gold, there are 3 coins and then bars. Bars in excess of 1 kilogram, 32.15 ounces in one trade, right? So if you had, 100 1-ounce gold bars, if you sell me 32, I don't need your social. You sell 33, I do. Now, in theory.
So 32 ounces will not get you 1099. So what are you worried about? You don't have to pay tax if you don't get 1099. Yeah, I'm going to run in and say, yeah, I paid $500 in poker. Let me pay tax on it. Yeah, really? As they inflate our dollars and they're worthless, I'm going to go and say that. I mean, come on. So 32 ounces of gold will not get you 1099. 33 will. So if you have 100 ounces to sell, and I don't know why you would sell 100 ounces, you would sell 30, come back, sell 30 more, come back, sell 30 more. But there's a catch to this. It's only in certain coins, and we're going to find out which one. So I think it's maybe Eagles and something, but Maple Leafs and Cougarons, there is no tax on it. So again, if you're going to call me up alarmed, you should know your story. So again, this is the only time I listen to Andy Scheckman. Do gold and silver purchases get reported to the government? Financial Prepper is the name. All right, let's go to the next part.
Would never want to call the dealer and say, I got 100 bars and I'm not reporting any of it, so I'm going to, break it up. You don't want to say that. But you could call a dealer and say, hey, I got 32 1-ounce gold bars. I'd like to sell them. You call back a few days later. Hey, I'm going to sell another 32. You call back a few days later. I'm going to sell another 32. Legal, completely unrelated transactions. Don't tell the dealer what I don't want to know that you're trying to avoid reporting. And I just don't. And that's not you shouldn't give that onus to the dealer. Instead, if you sell under 32.15 ounces in one time in bar form, then no 1099 is filed. The coins that would trigger it on the 25th ounce, Krugerrands, Maple Leafs, and 50 pesos. That's it. Gold Krugerrands, gold Maple Leafs, and gold 50 pesos on the 25th ounce. Nothing else triggers dealer reporting, period. So here again, you could sell 24 Kruger.
All right, let's go back.
Other 32. Legal, completely unrelated
Hey, Pat, just a
transactions.
second.
Don't tell the dealer what I don't want to know that you're trying to avoid reporting. And I just don't. And that's not you shouldn't give that onus to the dealer. Instead, if you sell under 32.15 ounces in one time in bar form, then no 1099 is filed. The coins that would trigger it on the 25th ounce, Krugerrands, Maple Leafs, and 50 pesos. That's it. Gold Krugerrands, gold Maple Leafs, and gold 50 pesos on the 25th ounce. Nothing else triggers dealer reporting, period. So here again, you could sell 24 Krugerrands today, sell 23 the next day, another 24 a few days later, 20 a couple days later. No dealer reporting. You sell more than 24 in one occasion there is. So you could sell back as many American Eagles, Buffaloes, Kangaroos, Philharmonics, pre-33, Chinese Panda. None of that stuff triggers it. So it's a very small window. In silver, it's bars or rounds, generic rounds, not the coins, bars or generic rounds in excess of 1,000 ounces in one transaction, period. So you could sell 980 today and 950 tomorrow and 700 the next day. 1,000 ounces in bar or generic round form, or 1,000 face value in pre-65 silver. So anything under that amount, not triggering it. So you can sell Maple Leafs, even silver Krugerrands, not gold, but silver, old Morgan silver dollars, Philharmonics, Britannias, Kangaroos. None of that will trigger it. Just the rounds and the bars in excess of 1,000 ounces in one trade, and the junk silver in 1,000 face in one trade. That's it.
Well, thank you, Indian.
Okay, so if you're selling your Eagles, there is no tax on it. If you're selling your Philharmonics, there's no tax. The only tax on gold is 24 ounces of Krugerrands and Maples. So just simply sell 22 ounces of that. And then there's no tax because he won't issue a 1099. Therefore, there's no tax. Well, I'll get tax fraud. You won't get tax fraud because there's no 1099. Why do you file taxes? Because you get a W-2. Why do you also file taxes? Because your stocks, maybe your dividends, your interest in the banks issue you a 1099. Gambling will issue a 1099 only on a slot machine over a certain amount. I don't know. I don't play slots. But if I play poker, there's no 1099. And if I play blackjack or craps or baccarat, there's no 1099, no matter how much I win. Because I don't know what you started with. You could have started with 10 grand and then you walk away with 15 grand. You didn't win 15 grand. You won 5 grand. They don't even know, so they don't 1099 you. That's why the casinos do so well, because there's no tax on your gambling. So you only pay tax on gold if you go to the store and trade in over 24 ounces, either Krugerrands or Maple Leafs, which I have both. So if I'm going to the store, I'm going to sell 10. That's it. And it won't trigger a 1099, and therefore I don't owe tax on it. So I don't know, these people come to me and they're like, I got to pay all this tax and I shouldn't have bought physical. And I'm like, this guy's on drugs. What do you mean you shouldn't have bought physical? You're going to watch your dollar go to zero? That was yesterday's class, was the guy freaking out because he realizes he has to pay tax. He doesn't, if you bought Eagles, he doesn't have to pay tax. Oh my God, you won't get 1099 on it. Now, if you want to be safe, do 20 at a time. And, you don't have to put 300,000 into the bank account at once. You can put 10 grand here. You go back every other day, once a week, 10, 15, 20 grand. But why would you do that? Then your money's worthless. So you've just taken gold that's worth a lot into it. And gold is, that. Silver, as long as it's under 1,000 ounces, you don't pay tax on that. Anything. So what exactly are we worried about with tax evasion and tax fraud and all this bullshit? Where are you getting this stuff from? Oh, it's a collectible. Yeah, but if you don't get 1099, you don't owe tax on it, right? When you sell your house, you pay sales tax on it, but you get a form, right? The buyer, the agents will say, okay, you sold your house for $200,000 and here it is. And then this is what you have to pay a sales tax on. I don't know that it's an income tax. But that's what it is. So I wanted to be perfectly clear. If you have American Eagles or Philharmonics, you're not paying a nickel in tax. Only Cougarans and Maple Leafs, and only if you put in 24, over 24. So if you take 25, he's going to give you a 1099. Otherwise, there's no 1099. No Social Security. Nobody knows you sold it. Nobody knows you bought it. They never issue anything for the buyer. It's only when you sell it. So again, there is no tax consequence if you sell 20 ounces of Maple Leafs. There's no tax consequence. If you sell 20 ounces of Eagles, no consequence. You sell 50 ounces of Eagles, no consequence. I don't know what you guys are if you don't get 1099, you're not paying a tax. That's the bottom line, and Stone Cold's telling you. Pat, how are you? The big day is imminent for silver. Well, silver started taking off today. So silver hit 54.40, and I go, here we go. It's hit 54. And then this little 10 o'clock crap where now it's 52.69, which makes perfect sense to me. China knocks it up to 54.40, and then at 8 o'clock, the U.S. pushes it down. It comes back up. They push it down again. It's the 10 o'clock bullshit. 52.69. You finally see 54. What's this knockdown? This is where the Madoff comes in on my title. So 52.69. And gold had been 42.40, is now 41.90. Again, it came back at 10, and then it's dropping a little bit more, but I don't think it'll drop too much more. And we'll get back to 4,300 and 4,400. This is all game playing by JP Morgan. This is all bullshit. Again, that's why I say watch Trading Places. This is Eddie Murphy doing his little I'm going to sell my option crap. All right, there's another. So that's Andy Schectman telling you what a dealer does as far as when they do it. It's a year old. If anything changes, I'll let you know, but I haven't heard anything. But I knew I'd saved it in my likes, and it was like 6 months ago. Anyway, that's the law, right? That's what he's the dealer, and he's saying if you do 24, just do less than 24 1 ounce Cougarans or Maples, there's no 1099. And the same with silver, as long as it's under 1,000 ounces, there's no 1099. So if you're going to do silver, somebody with a lot, you got 5,000, do 75 at a time. And that's perfect. You don't do them all at once. That's just stupid. But yeah, Pat, it looks like it's coming. Again, I don't get comex shorting it because it's so strong in demand. They're trying to keep the price down. Are these guys this stupid that they don't understand? Apparently they are. But anyway, now here's one I want to show you from Egon. I just watched it this morning. Very good. This explains why we're crashing in the debt. Now I know I have people that go, well, look how long it's been. I hate people like that. What do you mean? Well, it hasn't done it yet. So what? It won't do it. You can't read the variables. You can't see the high inflation and the high debt. Well, it hasn't done it yet. Oh, okay. So we're all idiots for thinking that now with all these X, Y, and Z reasons, it's going to do it. I mean, that's how you read things. So if you're on the Titanic, if this guy's on the Titanic, he won't get to a lifeboat because you'll say the Titanic can't sink. Even though there's a hole in it and the water's coming in and the boat's going into the water, well, it never sunk before. It's unsinkable, so it's not going to sink as it goes to the bottom of the Atlantic. People like this who can't think fifth dimensionally are really like, open your eyes, man. Can't you read A that gets you to B, gets you to C? That's what I teach. So it's very frustrating to hear this from somebody in the class who doesn't ask the questions, who never gets it. Oh, it's not going to go down. It's when's it going to collapse? Oh, it's been like this since 1971. It's collapsed. So Egon's going to walk us through the collapse.
We're looking at here a really horrific graph because it shows us the end of the Western monetary system and obviously the end of the dollar as well as other Western currencies. This started really in 1913 with the creation of the Fed, so-called central bank owned by private bankers for the benefit of private bankers. And this is how the Fed has been managed, and we can see the consequences. Until 1971, there was some discipline and the debt grew gradually from $3 billion in 1930 to, in 1970, $370 billion. But, of course, since Nixon closed the gold window, we have seen an absolute explosion of US debt and, of course, of global debt also. So from 1970, we've gone today to $38 trillion. That is just an astronomical figure that the US cannot afford and the world cannot afford. And the only way to repay that debt is by issuing more debt, but even the interest costs are too high to cover. We're today looking at $1 trillion interest rate, $1 trillion. So this is in Hemingway's famous words, how do you go bankrupt? First gradually and then suddenly. And we're in the sudden phase here. Look at what's going to happen in the next few years. Debt has doubled every 8-9 years since 1930. And just extrapolating that, we're seeing at least 100 trillion debt in 2036. 100 trillion debt from 3 billion in 1930. That's a 3,000,000% increase. Very, very difficult to fathom. And of course, by that time, the US and the whole of Western financial system will be bankrupt, totally. But they will continue to print money until it is totally worthless. The dollar and all currencies are down already by 99% since 1971. And that final percent will lead to total disaster and collapse of the Western financial system. At the same time as we have such an enormous and catastrophic rise of debt, obviously that will also lead to high inflation. And I expect interest rates to be at least 10% by that time. I think it'll be 10% long before that, actually. The interest rate trend turned up in 2021 after a 40-year downtrend and is now going up for at least 20 to 40 years. And therefore, we are going to see much higher interest rates, probably as high as in the 1970s, which I remember well. So 10% is probably a modest rate to calculate on the debt in 2036, which is the forecast when we will reach 100 trillion. So 10% probably much lower than it will be. 10% means 10 trillion interest rate cost by that time. So what are the consequences except for a collapse of financial system? Well, that's enough for anyone to actually deal with or fathom. But of course, it will also mean people will suffer, people will be poor, people will lose a lot of money, the investors will lose massive amounts of money. We are already seeing now signs that the stock markets are turning, and I think we're not far away from a rapid decline in stock markets. And that includes also tech stocks. Companies like Nvidia or Palantir looks like they're going to crash. And my view, and that's probably more controversial, I also think that Bitcoin and many of the cryptocurrencies will go down with the tech stocks. That's what it looks like. And we're already seeing the start of that. Of course, it will also lead to a shock in a highly leveraged system of tech stocks, of cryptocurrencies, and of course of debt in general. And the consequences will be real. There will be social unrest. There will be war. There will be poverty. And it's going to be a very tough time. And of course, it's more important than ever to help family, to help friends, help the people around you. And of course, to whatever extent you can, try to preserve wealth. So buy gold, buy physical silver, and store it outside the banking system. Now, with the background picture that I have painted, with the collapse of the currency, that means that it will be reflected in the gold price. And the gold price is the reverse of these crashing markets and crashing currencies. So I would expect to see both gold and silver going up by multiples in the next few years. And especially silver is extremely undervalued and will go up maybe twice as fast as gold. So please, please preserve your wealth. Help your friends and family, buy gold and silver, and then be very careful with your money for the coming years. Thank you.
So there you go. Why is it crashing? Because of the debt and the money printing. As we know, inflation is printing the money, and therefore it makes it worthless. So you can hold dollars or you buy gold and silver, physical, which is what we say. You get to the lifeboat. That's why I use Titanic. So I'm curious why this one person doesn't understand this. I don't know how else to explain it. He's an adult. He doesn't get it. I got to pay tax. You don't. I think he's got a lot of egos. You don't pay tax on that. Why you would put money in the bank? Beyond me. You want to buy an asset? Go buy your asset. Just wait for the gold. I got to buy it now. Well, go buy it. Buy something else right now and then buy it later. But why would you buy something that's going to go down? It's like putting money in the stock market, and then the stock market, he just said, is going to crash. So why would you buy stocks now? Or he said, the housing market's going to crash and Bitcoin's going to crash. So let's go buy Bitcoin now, just before the crash. We can lose all our money. Or you can buy gold and silver and physical and wait for it to go up. So I'm totally lost by this guy. He obviously is listening to other people, and it's really insulting that he's taking their word over mine. It's like, well, then why do you don't come to my class then? I don't need people who are, just don't get it, but want to listen to other people. As I've explained, most of the other people don't even know what inflation is. So I really wanted to get that straight, the tax, and then Egon I watched this morning to prove that it's going down and out, which we've already proved several times. They can't pay the debt. Now, the system does not need to collapse. If you come out with a new dollar and you back it by gold, which I know we don't have any gold, but if you back it, the system would work fine. That's the only way to save the system, is to make this gold back. But all the people who want to keep printing money don't understand this, so they won't go to the gold system. But it's funny, China understands it, Russia understands it, the BRICS, India, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, all understand gold. You can't print it, and that's it. So I don't know why these people are this stupid, and then they get roles in government, and then they print money and kill their own currency when all they need to do is buy gold. And everybody's buying gold now. It's almost gone. I would say it's gone. I'm going to maybe run to my guy's store today and just see if he has any. Just say hello, how are you doing? But that's it. I mean, this is the economy's toast. $38 trillion, you got to pay interest on it. Well, we just won't pay it. Oh, then you're going to go bankrupt. So if you don't pay your mortgage, guess what? You lose your house. Well, if you don't pay, the government doesn't pay the 38 trillion, they go bankrupt. Nobody will borrow from them. You're fucked if you go bankrupt. So that's what we have is we have this, but we can get out of it if we have gold and we gold back our currency, which we don't have any. Believe me, the gold in your Fort Knox or the Federal Reserve is not the US's. It's been rehypothecated. It means sold to China. So it's China's gold. It's just sitting there because China figures that it's safe there. Anyway, so to review, 24 ounces of gold will not, you won't have to pay tax on. Now, I don't know who in the right mind is going to sell 24 ounces of gold. I would never sell 24 ounces. I mean, I might sell an ounce or two to go to a trip, meet Daria or Jenna. I don't want to add to my credit card yet, so I might sell 1 ounce and get that for a vacation, and I'm going to get $4,200 for it. But to say you're not happy that you bought it in the first place, that you'd be better off holding dollars or stocks? Are you crazy? Why would you be better off in dollars that are worthless instead of gold that's worth a lot? Oh, I got to pay tax. You don't have to pay tax. You don't understand it. You go to the store or Andy Scheckman and you say, here's 20 ounces of Eagles. There's no 1099. You don't have to pay tax on it. Well, when I put the money in the bank, they're going to ask, say I got lucky. I went to Vegas and I won. That happens. You don't have to pay tax on that. So, I really don't get it. I don't. You got to really understand who you talk to. And if you talk to the wrong person, you could end up stressed and, making really, really stupid comments like, oh my God, I have to, I'm going to have to pay all this in taxes. No, you're not. If you don't get 1099, you don't owe a nickel in taxes. Just the way it works. Now, there's madoffs who didn't file taxes because he made all his money doing his little Ponzi scheme. That's a little different. So if you actually are running a company, then yeah, you'd have to pay tax. But you would register your company, right? So if you just bought an ounce of gold and you sell it, there's no tax implication on it. And then what would you pay tax on? Capital gain. You're not paying the full amount because you had to pay for it. So it's not a gross. Well, I sold an ounce for $4,200. Well, I had to pay tax on $4,200. No, because you paid less than 42. You paid $2,000 for it, so you pay tax on $2,200 at the most. It's called capital gains. Yes, the gold is a, what do they call it? It's a collectible. You still don't pay full value of the collectible. Or if you're worried, then just tell them just give me $2,000 for it. I don't know. It's really strange. Anyway, that's all I wanted to do. And then I'm coming back with football. But I wanted to do this separate because people are like, what's the tax implication? So at this point, we're not selling anything. You don't sell. The purpose of buying the gold is not to make money on it. It's not an investment. You're not buying it at 2,000, selling it at 3. Oh, good, I made money. Now I'll go back into stocks. No, if you do that, you're just wasting everybody's time. That's not why you're buying gold. You're buying gold because the boat's sinking. So if the Titanic's sinking, you buy gold as your lifeboat. You're holding on to the lifeboat. You're not getting out of the way. So you're not buying gold with the point of, okay, I bought 100 ounces and geez, it went up from $2,000 to $4,000. Let me sell it. Because then you get back into dollars. You have to understand, do you want to get back into dollars? No. And if you're buying a house, you put 10 or 20% down and get a mortgage. And I keep telling you, you'll buy the house with the gold. That's what you'll do. Because if the dollar's collapsing, the seller is not going to get, he's not going to want dollars for his house, right? You're giving me, my house is worth $500. Now it's worth maybe 100 because the dollar's not worth anything. So I'll take a few ounces of gold for it. So what are you saying? He won't take the gold because you've never heard of it it's stupid. It's a stupid comment because you don't listen. I'm talking moving forward. This is what happened in Germany. Their dollars were worthless. They needed wheelbarrows. But if you had gold, you could buy the house. Same thing in Zimbabwe and Sri Lanka and Pakistan and everywhere else. They're having trouble. Brazil, Argentina, when the dollar collapses, you'll be using gold. And they'll take the gold because it will buy the house versus the dollar. Pardon me, they're mowing lawns. So again, you'll be able to use gold just like you'll be able to use a Mantle card. If you have a PSA 10 Mantle card or PSA 9, I don't think there are 10s, and you see on eBay it's worth $100,000, then there you go. That's what you'd be doing. Crazy. So anyway, that's what you're doing. You're not buying gold to sell it and make profit. You're buying gold for protection. It keeps going up. You're making more and more money, but it's protection because your only other option is to buy dollars, and the dollars have no value. So why would you want to be in dollars? You don't. You can buy an asset with gold and or silver. You're going to use it to go to the grocery store and the movies and everything else. I assume the credit card will just switch to gold if you have it, and you just use your credit card to buy things. Look at Rome. They didn't have dollars. They had silver and gold. That's what they had there. So with that being said, you're not looking to sell the gold. Why am I buying it? For protection mostly. And then it's going up, but it's not really an investment. It's just the what's happening with the dollar going to zero. So since the dollar is going to zero, you want to hold something that will not go to zero. So you're buying gold and silver because you don't want to be in the dollar and stuck with $100,000 worth nothing, or your 401k, which is about to get crushed, going to zero. Then you'd be on the streets. If that's what you want, then do that. I mean, I can't imagine people are that stupid. This is the out. This will protect you. That's what buying gold and silver does. But once you get rid of it, you can't get it back. That's why you hold it. So if you got 100 ounces, you want to hold those 100 ounces as long as you can. You might need to send one for rent and food and help your friends and family out, but that's it. You want to be very, very picky of when to sell. And soon you won't even be able to get dollars because they'll be broke. So let's say gold hits 10,000 an ounce. The dollar lost its value. The dollar's gone to zero. Now what do? You're going to use the gold and the silver to buy things. That's the point of why you have it. So I don't know how else to explain it. I don't know why it's such a confusing topic. I don't know why you doubt it. Or, if you doubt what I say, please don't listen, because I don't need people that want to question I am 100% sure of what I'm saying. So this is why I don't like comments. I don't like to get frustrated by reading stupid comments in the thing. Now, that's why I have a live chat, so we can talk live and we can discuss. And if you have questions, then bring it in now and I'll talk to you about it. But this is really frustrating to me because I'm teaching this for 5 years, and now somebody is like, oh, I don't know. I wish I never bought gold. Really? Wow. Okay. Yeah, well, good luck to you. Stop bothering me. I can't talk to people that are this stupid. It really is infuriating to me. It's very insulting. Well, Howard, what you said, I don't listen to. Well, then I can't. I do this so you listen and you learn. This is a class. So whatever. I don't know. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So now you've got, as long as you have eagles, you can sell as many as you want. You won't get taxed, but why would you sell any? Maybe you sell 1 and 2 and there's no 1099 on it. There's no tax on it. Put the money in the bank if you want, if you got to pay a bill. If you're trying to buy a house, wait till it crashes and then buy it cheap and use the gold to buy it. And then you don't have a mortgage. I don't know why this concept's so hard. The gold will buy the house. It's not hard, but it's down the road. It's when the dollar collapses and the gold's high and the price of the houses go down. Then is when you do it. Not today, but soon. So anyway, Pat, I hope everything's good, David. I'll be right back and we'll talk football. So have a good day. Again, don't worry. If you don't get 1099 on your gold and silver, which you won't if it's 5 and 10 ounce sales, which I don't know why you do too much, there's no tax on it. Nobody knows you have it because the dealer didn't put it in, and nobody knows you sold it. So, yeah, let me tell the government this. Okay, good luck, guys. And to put the money into the bank, you've got to be nuts because you won't get the money out and it won't have a value. So you really don't want to hold the money. It's to get it out. It's to pay for vacation. So it's like, here's an ounce. I get 4,200 and then quickly get out of it. All right. Well, let's check gold. It's 11 o'clock. 4,200 and silver 52.69. There's no reason it's down. Silver's down 79 cents. There's no reason. It was 54, and there's nobody sold it to get to 52. These are just strictly options, and they will be bought up, and the person's going to have to deliver, which he doesn't have it. So anyway, that's it. All right, so I'll come back for football. We can still talk economics, but I wanted to do this separately so you know the tax implications. No 1099, no tax, unless it's a business. You know, if you're running a business, then you have business taxes and they know you're running a business. But if you're not running a business and it's just kind of like, oh, I buy Mickey Mantle cards and I sell it, if you don't get 1099, there's nothing to worry about. All right. Just like poker. You don't get 1099. You can win $10,000 playing poker. You're not going to get 1099 on it. Because there's days you're going to lose a little bit. So it evens out. All right. www.teaserking.com. I have put a few picks out. And I'm waiting on some questionable injuries. Will they play? And some in college. But the college should start getting posted. I've been going through the last 5 or 6 games instead of the whole thing and finding a lot of good games that are hidden if you look at the full year because they'll lose 70-0 to Alabama. But after that, they're winning 24-20 every game, and they're really good bets like Coastal Carolina. All right. I will be back shortly. All right. www.teaserking.com. Thank you. I hope that explains buying if you sell your gold and silver, and I don't advise it just for very small for purchases. If it's under that, if Eagles, you can sell as much as you want, and Philharmonics, Cougarans, and Maples, keep it under 24 ounces, which I don't know why anybody would sell 24 ounces. I think these are more for the big hitters who have like Warren Buffett, who might have a bar, but he's not smart enough to buy gold, so he's an idiot. All right. Have a good day. I'll be right back, and give me 5 minutes to make my pita, and off we go. So I'll be right back. All right. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your day. Be right back.